Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar with Sarah Scala. Um, Sarah is a chamber member who has always been wonderfully helpful to everyone and to me personally whenever I need anything. So Sarah, thank you so much for offering to do this webinar here today. Sarah has presented this to companies all over the world, actually, sometimes to thousands of people at once. So we're in for a treat. The webinar is titled Sustaining LGBTQ plus Success with Optimism, Resilience, and Grit. Sarah is a consultant, coach, educator. I always really appreciate her approach. She has really high energy, and she increases client revenue, reduces turnover, creates business value, transforms performance of executives, leaders, and teams, helping them reach their highest potential. She also provides organizational leadership development, executive coaching, change management, public speaking facilitation, and team development solutions. She supports US-based and global clients across cultures, generations, geographies, and diverse industries. And her extensive experience working with organizations that strive to balance excellent performance, in addition to supporting LGBTQ plus leaders, makes her a really valuable addition to our chamber. And we are so happy to have you here today, Sarah. Everyone, there is a link in the chat that you will use during there are going to be breakout rooms today, and there's a workshop handout, so please download it. It's in the chat. If you joined after the link was put in, I'm just going to copy it and paste it just in case somebody joined after that got added to the chat. And without further ado, Sarah, please take it away, and thank you again for being here today.
Thank you so much, Thais, and also Gabby and Jamie for your support with bringing this program to our Chamber of Commerce. It is wonderful to be here today for this workshop. My name is Sarah Scala. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I'm very excited to do this workshop. So Thais gave you sort of the list of what we do, and these are some of the amazing companies, both global and local, that we've had the honor to partner with and to support. These days, I'm doing an awful lot of work with LGBT leadership coaching. I'm supporting employee resource groups for Pride, and I'm also consulting with many organizations to bring diversity, inclusion, and belonging more into their organization. So I just wanted to share that as you have questions during today's workshop, I welcome them. One thing that would help me and also Jamie, who is supporting on the tech side, any questions that you have, write the word question in caps and then go ahead and share it. This way, if people are also chatting or, conversing with each other, we don't mistake your conversation for a question. But I'm going to move on to our slideshow. So I just wanted to cite the source that I'm going to reference in this workshop. And this is a book called Flourish by Dr. Marty Seligman. Marty Seligman has been not only the president of the American Psychological Association in the past, but he's also known as the founder of positive psychology. Marty Seligman is at the University of Pennsylvania. And reading this book 12 or 13 years ago was really eye-opening for me about the science and the research behind behavior change, positive psychology. So there's a QR code there. And I think there might also be a link in the chat box coming up. We have one question. What does title and organization mean exactly here? Valerie, I'm not certain if there's a slide that you're asking about, you can
The
unmute.
form, Sarah.
Form. What company or organization do you work for? If you work for a company, and if you don't, just put a dash or a period symbol there.
Or if it's a fellow business owner, maybe business name and their role.
Yeah, enroll. That would be great. And thanks for asking about that, Valerie. All right, so that's the book. I also always like to cite my sources. So let's talk about some of the challenges that LGBTQ folks face in life today. This is based on a McKinsey study that was done a year or so ago. And they did a lot of research and said, what are the top 4 or 5 challenges that LGBT folks like us or allies should be aware of that are challenges at work today. So number 1 challenge at work, coming out. Whether you are self-employed, running your own company, or an employee of a business, that was the number 1. Discrimination, microaggression, and then feeling isolated. So I think that's important because as we look at optimism, resilience, and grit for sustaining our success, it's important for us to realize these are the documented challenges. Optimism, resilience, and grit can support those. So I just had a quick question in the chat box that I just wanted to answer. All right, so what the heck are we talking about when we're looking at optimism? Well, let's take a look. Optimism is the stable belief that generally things are going to work out okay. Things are going to turn out positive. Now, I'm not talking about toxic positivity or BS or making things fake and BS with optimism, but generally we think, things are overall are going to be okay. These are some of the habits of those who have a heightened level of optimism. And this is also on your handout. And we have put the link in the chat for the handout. So some of the characteristics of those with optimism, they smile more than they frown, folks. They're exercising regularly. They are better listeners. They share their stories. They have some gratitude. They understand that this minute or this tough challenge that we're in is not necessarily the complete blueprint for the future. And they also stop blaming others. Usually when I share this list and I'm speaking at conferences and events, people say, that's great. I don't feel very optimistic. How do I build my optimism? You know what I tell people? I say, pick 1 or 2 of these habits on this list and put it in make it a goal for you to smile more or to stop blaming others and work on 1 or 2 of these areas at a time. We don't have to eat the whole elephant in one sitting. Okay. So I wondered if in your breakout groups, and let's do groups of three or 4 people. I think we have about 10 people in the group. So let's do 3 or 4 people. We're going to give you 7 minutes and answer these 3 questions also on your handout. Are you optimistic? How do you keep yourself optimistic? And discuss that list of 10 habits that I shared to see which ones you might already have. So Jamie, if you're ready to put folks in breakout rooms, I do not need to go in a room. I will see you back in 7 minutes. Hello, and welcome back. So how did it go in your breakout room? Did you get to meet new people and learn some different things? I'm seeing some smiles. That's always a good sign. So I wanted to share some benefits to thinking like an optimist. And this comes from the American Psychological Association. And these are some of the benefits. So if we have a heightened level of optimism, folks, we're going to be happier and healthier, more likely to live to 100, less sick days, happier times at work. We're going to get more job offers, more promotions. We're going to be better athletes. We're better at bouncing back. We're better at going on dates, whether we're looking for a partner or partners, or if we're already married and committed. These are the benefits of thinking like an optimist. There's also a link here on the bottom for the optimism test. So if you're curious, how optimistic am I really? The University of Pennsylvania built a quick 2-minute assessment that will give you qualitative data that can say, This is your level of optimism. This is also included on your handout as a resource on the last page. So please don't feel like you have to write down every word of that long URL. So my question for the group, and this is anonymous, how optimistic do you feel? So how optimistic do you feel that if there were issues impacting your LGBT community at work, that it would be addressed adequately? So you're going to want to go to menti.com and put in the code. All right, whoever just did that, thank you so much. So the majority of our group have a high level of optimism, where if there were issues impacting the LGBT community at work, it would be addressed adequately. And 2 people said, meh, maybe yes, maybe no, moderate. Awesome. Hey, oh, we got a tie now, a tie. So 3 felt yes, 3 felt or high level, and 3 felt moderate. Awesome. Thanks for participating in our poll. And keep in mind that we're not, at a dead set number on optimism. I could wake up super optimistic. Wow, this is the best day of my life. I'm really excited. I get to work with the Mass LGBT Chamber. I'm working with some great clients. And then, things happen, right? I mean, people get a flat tire or something that may not help us to feel super optimistic. So I'm not suggesting that we're at one level and that's where we're at 24/7. It's not realistic. We get burnt out and exhausted. But sometimes it's helpful to just take a pulse check on ourselves to say, where am I at? And if I'm not feeling optimistic, what are some things I could do that might help strengthen that? And those were those lists that I shared with you. So let's talk about resilience. It's our capacity to bounce back, to deal with stress and catastrophe. And I like to think that our resilience is our ability to bounce back to an even better place. So I got another Menti poll for you folks, and this is the same link and code as we just used. So let me just switch to the, what do they say, on to the next one. Hang on one second. We'll get the poll up. How resilient do you feel right now? Let me see. All right. So 4 people, the majority in our audience today, feel a high level of resilience, or 5 people. And 1 person says, medium right now. Our level of resilience, just like our level of optimism, can change throughout the day, the week, or the month. Thanks, everybody, for participating in our second poll. These are some proven ways for us to build resilience. And I believe that this list is on your handout as well. And this is from the American Psychological Association. So I'll let you take a look at this list and maybe put in the chat box, which one jumps out at you as either something you've been using or something you want to start doing. For me, when I'm feeling down or upset or not having a high level of resilience, a couple of things that I do is I try to take decisive action, take a little step, a baby step, a decision, something that will get the ball rolling. And I also try to take care of myself. Maybe that's outside, going for a bike ride or a run, or giving myself a bubble bath, or spending some time doing some journaling or mindfulness. Let's see, we got some answers in the chat box. Thanks to everyone who is participating here in today's class. Accepting that change is a part of living. Action and self-care. Someone said number 10, taking care. Someone else said, I need more of number 2, avoid seeing crises as insurmountable, keeping things in perspective. Yeah, there are many ways that we can build our level of resilience. Now, I often tell people, if you feel like you have a lower level of resilience right now, don't feel like you have to do all 10 of these at once, folks. Pick 1 or 2 and try to practice. Try to practice. Where are you at with resilience? Because it's a competency that can be built and developed at any age. So what I'd like to do now is put you in another set of breakouts, this time with a partner, so one-on-one. Be sure to introduce yourselves, and there are questions on your handout, I think 4 or 5 questions for you to talk through with your partner. Gabby, is it possible for you to get those breakout rooms set up?
Yep, they are all ready.
Awesome. So 7 minutes and we'll see you back. Welcome back, everybody. Thanks for participating in that breakout room.
We need longer breakout rooms.
I know. Everybody
We'll have to come back together for a
for the boot camp or the
exactly.
regroup. Yeah, awesome. I'm so glad. It's always nice when people come back from breakouts and they're smiling. It's awful when they're like, so that's very nice to see your smiles. And I hope you had the opportunity to connect. Maybe you can stay in touch throughout the year. So I wanted to share, so that McKinsey study I shared in the beginning, the challenges for LGBT folks at work, the coming out, the microaggressions, things like that. McKinsey also said, based on our research, here's ways to make it better. Whether you're a member of the LGBT community like I am, whether you're an ally, doesn't matter. These are ways anybody can help make work more friendly. So the first, don't stumble into microaggressions. Set a meaningful public example. Show support, show allyship. Educate the people in your organization or your team so that people know. Sometimes clients will hire me just to do a 15-minute or 20-minute workshop on what are pronouns, okay? Because not everybody knows this, not everyone gets it. And so how do we educate the team? Strengthen your pipeline. So looking at folks who want to be a part of your organization, whether they want to be employees, whether they want to be customers, how do we strengthen and diversify our pipeline? How do we keep building and supporting our networks, those at work that support us? And then looking at our policies. If we're a business that has employees, looking at policies. Do we have different restrooms for different people? Do we have health insurance that really is a good fit for everybody, whether you're heterosexual, whether you're gay, whether you're bi, whether you're trans? And having those policies that would build inclusion. So those are just 6 ways we can make our workplaces more LGBTQ friendly. I wanted to hear from everybody. If you can put in the chat, what's one insight, something that you appreciated, or something that stood out for you?
Looks like there's a comment in chat, Sarah.
Yeah, diving into the grit. Awesome. The cool thing about grit, Lisa and others, is that in the United States, elementary schools are incorporating lessons to build grit in kids as young as 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 years old, because that's the differentiator. We have the research, there's been the studies, and it's showing that this is the game changer. This is the deal. So little kids are learning about grit. Yeah, a couple people like that comment. Doing breakouts and getting to know others. Definitely. Julie, thanks for that. Connecting with people with more experience and insight as a young person. These are great. Also wanted to say that I have a free newsletter, comes out every single month. This month's just came out yesterday. If you want to sign up, there's a QR code, or you can go to sarahscala.com/join. And I think there's going to be a link put in the chat box in just a second, where if you want to sign up, it's totally free. You can unsubscribe at any time. And I share blogs, tips, and articles, and sometimes video clips about positive change, belonging and inclusion, psychological safety, and things like that. All right. Does anyone have questions for me? And I've been watching the chat box pretty religiously. Are there any questions for me in these last 2 minutes? Any questions? And I'm going to hang. If folks want to stay connected to me, I'm on LinkedIn. And I'd love to be connected. There's a QR code, and also Gabby's going to put a link right in the chat box for that. I welcome the questions. Thank you for being here. I wish you optimism, resilience, grit, and positivity. Thais, thanks again for this opportunity. And Gabby, thanks so much for your support with the tech and the breakout rooms. So thanks, everybody.
Thank you all. We will see you soon.